So, folks, as you get involved in the importance of being earnest, I wanted to just give you a little bit of an overview. Again, the language is a lot more simple than Shakespearean English, but because this is kind of a madcap comedy and it helps a lot to have it visualized, I wanted to give you a heads up to some of the things that you might be seeing. So as you open up with the reading that was assigned yesterday, you see that we open up in Algernon's home. Algernon is one of our main characters, and as the scene opens, you've got him sitting in his home interacting with Lane, who is his butler, his manservant, whatever name you want to attach to it. I would remind you to take a look at their interaction because remember, it is a master and a servant, but there is a certain amount of sarcasm embedded in their conversation, which would suggest the loyalty and closeness of the relationship that we talked about yesterday when we talked about social conventions of the aristocracy. Our next character who enters is named Jack, and that is our other significant male character. Jack is coming to visit Algernon, and Jack has been living in the city, and he has a lot of responsibilities as a relatively young man, more than he should actually. He is the guardian of one of our female characters named Cecily, and as such, he has taken on a tremendous amount of responsibility to make sure that she is appropriately raised and introduced into society. And as somebody younger who's assumed a lot of responsibilities, he has the desire to escape from time to time, which is actually probably really relatable. So he has invented this imaginary brother named Ernest, and Ernest lives in the country. So Jack is Jack in the city, but when the responsibilities of his day-to-day life there take on a life of their own and he feels overwhelmed and he feels like he needs to escape, he tells people he's going to visit his brother Ernest, and then he leaves, and then he goes and he has, madcap adventures elsewhere. One of those adventures is cultivating the friendship that he has with Algernon. And through Algernon, he has gotten a chance to meet Algernon's cousin, who's named Gwendolyn. And in the time that he has spent flirting with her and courting her, he's actually fallen in love with her. And that romantic notion has continued, cultivating his friendship with Algernon. And so when Jack enters, Algernon has called him out on this little masquerade. The last time that Jack was there, he left a cigarette case that was engraved and had an inscription to Uncle Jack from little Cecily. So Algernon is smart enough to start to put two and two together and realize that something is up. And Jack then reveals to Algie that he's got this mistaken or this dual identity, this kind of alter ego. So Algernon is privy to the truth. And of course, now that this ruse has been revealed, this is where our trope of mistaken identity and the issues that come with that and that deception ensue. So as Jack and Algie are having this conversation, Jack also slides in that he is in part there because, again, he wants to see Gwendolyn and he wants to spend some time with her. And it just so happens that Lady Bracknell is bringing Gwendolyn over to Algie's home. And Jack sees this as a wonderful opportunity because he wants to propose to Gwendolyn. And again, remember, marriage is a business transaction. Lady Bracknell probably already has a groom in mind. In fact, she says as much later on. So Algie does let him know that as much as he might like Jack, Lady Bracknell will never allow Gwendolyn to marry Jack. And again, that kind of speaks to this transactional nature of marriage and starts to speak to the criticism of those institutions. And of course, with that, we have a very determined Jack who has decided that he loves Gwendolyn and he does want to marry her. And so, of course, this lays the groundwork for the furthering of scheming and mistaken identities as Jack tries to court the woman that he truly wants to marry and to try to evade the societal conventions that might restrict that. So I hope that that does kind of give you a little overview of what it is that you're tackling. And again, I'm happy to try to clarify or answer any questions that I can. But again, I hope that that helps a little bit as you're continuing to read.